Keilim Perik Tezayin, Mishnah Ches. It's the last Mishnah Perik, and after the long Mishnah Zayin which we did, Mishnah Ches will not be as long as that. And we're going to actually deal here with quite an important rule. Okay, let's start the Mishnah. Again, this Mishnah has a long list of things, and there's a klal at the end. And the Mishnah is going to talk about ticking, a tick. This is little, we've mentioned this before, but now we're going to do it in detail. These are little pouches made out of leather or wood for knives. And as you can see, tikka sifa sakin a pigyon. And then he's going to say in the Mishnah, Reilu Tamei. Now we had tikkim in the previous Mishnah, which were Tahirim, and now we're going to deal with tikkin, pouches, which are Tomei. If I could just take you to the end of the Mishnah where you can see the word, Zaklal, Ha'osi l'tik Tomei. If it's made as a tick, whether that means it's Tomei, L'chipoi, just as a cover Tahir. Okay, now I'm going to do an introduction here to the type of kelim we're talking about. Let's look at these tikkin, which are supposed to be Tomei. Now, it seems from the Mefarshim that we are not dealing in this Mishnah with something which is Tomei min ha-Torah. In other words, we have to understand these things are not a kli kibble min ha-Torah. And we're into a drabonon here. The question is, why do we not have a kli kibble min ha-Torah? It is a leather pouch, you stick, it's a little pocket, a wallet, to hold knives and razor blades and scissors, as you can see the list in the Mishnah. So let's first discount why this is not Tomei min ha-Torah. It seems from the Chazon Ish and other Mefarshim that the reason why these kelim are not a kli kibble, either it's simply because of the actual shape. For instance, it hasn't got a base, it's only got four, it's a wraparound one, so it actually hasn't got the metzias of a kibble. That's one possibility. The other possibility is, even if it has actually got the shape of a kibble, it's actually got a kibble, a receptacle area which you can put the knife in. The reason why this fails the test of being a kli kibble is because a kli kibble's definition is it's a keli with a kibble. It's osi l'kabola, that means you put the item in the kli and you carry the kli by carrying the item. In other words, in order to carry the kli, in order to carry the item, you carry the kli, and the kli transports the item in it. However, here, the knife here, the pouch of the knife, of the penknife, isn't being used to transport the kli. You're transporting the kli. You want to protect the kli while you're transporting it, so you wrap it round with this pouch. But the purpose of the pouch isn't to transport the kli. The purpose of the pouch is to protect the kli to protect the knife while you're carrying it. Therefore, this is a lomda shechilik, and therefore this is not a kli kibble. You don't transport the knife by the kli. So it's not osi l'kabola, so we're not into a deraisa here. That's number one. So into a drabonon here, because this has not got a din of kli kibble, it's got a din of kli poshut. And we said before, when we have a din of kli poshut, it's tomei if it's meshamesh, what's inside it, b'shas malacha and shaloi b'shas malacha. And these pouches are meshamesh the knife, b'shas malacha and shaloi b'shas malacha, and again this needs explanation. I can certainly understand it's meshamesh the knife, shaloi b'shas malacha, because it protects the knife when you're not using the knife. But when you're using the knife, you take the knife out. So why is this kli called a kli which is meshamesh b'shas malacha as well? And the answer is based on a Ravid. The Ravid says the kli is meshamesh the knife because it protects the knife not just while the knife is inside it. It actually safeguards the knife from rust and from chips, from being chipped, so that the knife can be used after you take it out. So it actually helps the kli both now, while the kli is not doing the malacha, while the knife is not doing the malacha, and it also helps the knife while the knife is doing its malacha of cutting. So it protects now for the case of shas malacha. That's how the Ravid explains. Therefore, these kelim are tomei midrabanan. Now, I've said the rule, we can now do the Mishnah. Tik hasayav sakin va'pikun, the little pouch or wallet that contains the Sayaf is a sword, Sakin is a knife, Pigin is a two-bladed knife. Tik misperes or misparim. Misperes we had before. Misperes was a little sort of tweezers with sharp ends like this, and it's used for cutting, for snipping hair. Misparim are your classic scissors. Hatar is a razor blade. So the tick used to protect these is a klietz poshut, but it's meshamish b'shas malocha and shloi b'shas malocha, as I explained earlier. Similarly, tik makchod beis hakochel. When a woman applies a mascara to her eyes, the makchod is the little brush with which she applies the mascara, and the tick is the little pouch that holds the brush. Beis hakochel is the tick, the little bag that holds the actual jar of the mascara. Tik machtev. This is machtev is a pen. You have a special leather pouch to protect the pen, to hold the pen and protect it. Truntek is, Barturu tells us, this is a more of a complex arrangement. It's a little double or triple pouch, lots of little compartments in it. Tik tavlo, uskuritia. Different explanations what tavla and skuriti is, but Tosis Yomtov brings this. Tavla and skuriti are actually astronomical instruments. A tavla was a plate used in the Mishnah Rosh Hashanah. Kamin Levonos, he brings Hoyer Rabban Gamliel, but tavla is a plate where you have etched out or engraved the various stars and the moon. Skuriti was some sort of sextant. It was an instrument used to measure angles, and again you protected it by a tick. Beis hachitzim, beis hapagushas, these were tikkim used to protect arrows, and a pagush is another type of weapon. All these cases harelu tmeim, because they are pshutei kleor, and the meshamish b'shas malocha and shaloi b'shas malocha. Tik simponia. We've had simponia before at the beginning in Matchis. If you remember, we had the word simponia in Perik Yud Aleph Mishnah Vov. Simponia, obviously by its name, symphony is an instrument. Now the Mishnah is going to tell us, if the bag in which this is a delicate instrument, you have a bag to protect it. Now, if you put the instrument in from the top, then it's a classic case of a tick. It carries or it holds the instrument, and again you must say this is really a kli eitz pashut, but it's mishamish b'shas malacha and shaloi b'shas malacha. It helps the instrument play properly even after you take it out of the bag. Mitzidoi, however, this is coming now to the klal at the end of the Mishnah. Even these types of ticking, if the tick, the pouch, is actually not something into which the item is placed, it's just something which covers the item from the side or from the top. Once you have your item here, then you slide the tick over it. That action of chipui, as opposed to a tick, is so unimportant that even with Rabbanon, it's not makabel tuma. Tick chalilin, this is another tick used for a flute. Rabbi Yehuda Metayer, he says there seems to be a machlokas between the Tanna Kamma and Rabbi Yehuda. The Mefarshim are not very clear as to exactly what the point of the machlokas turns on. Rabbi Yehuda Metayer, because the tick, you put the cholil into the tick from the side. Now that seems to fit in exactly with what we said before, that when you put it in from the side, that's called chipui and therefore tor. So why would the Tanna Kamma argue with Rabbi Yehuda? We don't know. And another case of chipui. Chipui ha'olah ha'keshes v'haremach ha're'ilu toirin. Again, this is a chipui, not a tick. So it's just, you have your keshes, olah and remach are types of spears. Keshes is a bow. You want to protect the bow, so you just have a covering which fits over it. That type of tashmish of a chipui is never going to be choshev enough to be called a kli tashmish, and therefore will be tohor. As the Mishnah ends off, Ze'aklan ha'osei letik tomei. We're dealing with, of course, which is something which is min ha'torah, not a kli kibul, as mentioned, as I said at the beginning of the Mishnah. But nevertheless, if it serves the function of a tick, i.e., it's mishamish b'shas malacha and shaloi b'shas malacha, is tomei. However, the chipui tor, even in such a case, if the function is only a case of covering, it's a chipui either from the top or from the side, then that's not a tashmish choshev at all, and therefore it's tor, even midrabanon. Right, that's the end of Perik Design, Baruch Hashem, and we're going to start Perik Design, which I believe is the longest Perik in the Masechta, and lots of interesting.